Hello everyone, welcome back guys. Today we are going to solve lab number 6 from race condition vulnerability module from Portswigger. And before going further, this little disclaimer as always for you. This video and its content are only for educational and awareness purpose, and I do not support any unethical or illegal act. That's been said, if you did not subscribe the channel, please subscribe to the channel, like and share as much as you can. So without wasting time, let's jump to the lab. And today we are going to deal with partial race conditions, partial construction race conditions. So this lab contains a user registration mechanism. A race condition enables you to bypass email verification and register with an arbitrary email address that you do not own. Interesting. So to solve the lab, exploit this race condition to create an account, then log in and delete the user Carlos. Difficulty level of this lab is expert. Okay, so I'm going to start the burp proxy on my browser and just go to register. So there you can see, if you work in gin and juice, please use your @ginandjuice.shop email address. So by seeing this message, you can think that if you want to register a user here, you can register that user with email only using this domain, ginandjuice.shop. So let's go and we try that. The first thing I want to say, let's see, I want to register this user named as Wiener, and WIENER Wiener @ginandjuice.shop. So copy that, paste it here, and password anything you want. So register this, and as you can see, the user is registered and the link is sent to the registered email. But because the Wiener, we don't have any credential, but we have email client, so if we visit to email client, we will not get anything. Okay, so that's the thing, means you do not have anything to get that email registration confirmation link. Okay, let's try something else, because here there is a message which is saying that you need to register your email or a user with this email having domain ginandjuice.shop, but it's saying, why not we test it? So Wiener, and I want to say, let's say WIENER Wiener at cybersec.radar, and the password is going to be anything. Let's try that. Okay, we have a message here and it's saying you must register with this domain. You must register an email having this domain. So try, that means we cannot register a user with different domain. Okay, let's try to see if we can register the same username with same email address or not. So register that, and as you can see, an account already exists with that username. That means we need to change the username. So Wiener1, let's say, and let's try to see if we change the username but the email we put the same with which we already registered a user. And let's try that one more time. So as you can see, we try user Wiener1, but the email address was same, which is Wiener @ginandjuice.shop. We already registered a user by name Wiener with this email address. That means user must be unique, but the email address can be repeated. So that means there could be a time of check whenever any user is going to register a user. So the database or the application is going to check in the database whether that user already exists or not. And this is the first condition, time of check. Another condition here is whenever we are going to register a user, it is going to check first of all username, and another thing, it is going to check within the email field whatever we are requesting. We must request an email having @ginandjuice.shop. If the user try to register with any other email address, it is not going to register. So there are two conditions within the same feature, and these both condition is going to be time of check. And let's say, what about the time of use? So whenever we are going to register a user, it is going to create a link and send it to our email. But the problem here is we cannot see what that link contains. So now I think we check every possible thing we can do here as a legitimate user. And now we go back to the burp proxy. This is the first request, which is register. We go to the register endpoint, and then there is one more get request that is trying to get the user.js file. And this is a JavaScript file which seems interesting. And if you see that file here in the response, so you can see it is constructing a form. So this is the creation or registration form for the user, where we are trying to register a user. So this form contains what? Contains user registration. This is the element ID, element by ID, which is user registration. Then it is going to label one field, which is username, and it is the input type. The field type is input type, and as you can see, required is true. That means to register a user, you cannot leave the username field empty. You must enter the value for the username as the text in the text format, and the input name is username, right? Okay, so if we see the post request here, you can see there is username field, and this is the username value. Okay, the second thing is going to be labeled as email. So the next field we have here is email field. And again, this is the input field. We cannot leave it empty. This is the required field. You must enter the value here, and the type is email. So if we see here, the type is email, not type is text. That means you must enter the value in the email format. That means @ or dot must be there. And the name is email. Fine. The third field is the password field. This is again true, and this is type password. So that's why whenever we write here in the password anything, it comes in these circles, black dots. Okay, because the type is password. And then there is a button for submission. Okay, so these are the values. Fine. But if you scroll down, there is one more interesting part, and this is the most interesting thing. Why? Because we cannot access any email link or confirmation link, so we have no idea what this link contains. But here, if you see this form or this part of the user.js JavaScript file, you will be able to understand what this confirmed link is all about. So you can see here, it is going to construct a confirmation email, and within the confirmation email, it is going to say it by the class name confirmation, and it is taking the first value from the array, and then it is going to split it with the question mark sign, and there are part equal to 2, and this is the part 2, right? So it is constructing the URL, the query string, and the path. Okay, so here you can see the query includes what? Query includes a token. Wonderful. So query string is going to have a token, and it is a form. The method used is post request. Okay, and the action it is going to take on /confirm. This is going to be the endpoint /confirm. Then there is a question mark placed, and then there is action, and action is defined here, which is going to be the token. So that means it is going to be something like this: host name /confirm and question mark. The query is going to be token is equal to, let's say, a something like this, and it is using post method, right? Okay, let's see what else. And nothing much. There is a button. So whenever you get the email and you visit that link, it will contain a button for the confirmation. Fine. Okay, so let's go. That means we have at least a structure of the confirmation email. So the confirmation email URL should be something like this. All right. Okay, now if I come here, I'm going to send post request, register post request to the repeater. Okay, and I send it 2 times, let's say. So this is the first request for the register, and we need to change the name because Wiener, we already created the user, registered a user with the name Wiener. So I'm going to change the name here. And the second thing, email could be the same. So even if you change it or do not change, nothing matters here. And here we go. So we get the reply from this. And as you can see, please check your email for your account registration link. Fine. Okay, the second thing here is I want to construct here another confirmation link, confirmation registration confirmation links, right? So it was confirm question mark. This is the parameter token, and its value is something like, let's say AAA, because we did not know up to now what this value is all about. And host is okay. Now we can say content type is going to be x www form and URL encoded. Okay, let's try to send this. Okay, it's saying incorrect token value, which is AAA. If we delete this value and let's try now, it's saying forbidden. This is not by default reply or by default message from the application, so that no one or no user can just type here the parameter containing no value and just pass the confirmation. So to block that, this one is denied. So we cannot use the empty value here. Okay. Second thing, what we try, if we just delete this query and send it again, and as you can see, missing parameter is token. That means this parameter must be there to activate or confirm your email address. Okay, and when we do not put any value of the token, then it's saying that it is forbidden. This action is forbidden. That means we must use a value. But what if we try null? Because one hypothesis we can take into the consideration that because anything is going to be saved into the database server, and whenever the confirmation or a user trying to register its account, the application is going to generate a token, and that token is going to be saved in the database server. So what we saw before, that there is a problem. The username is unique, but the email address cannot be unique. So similarly, maybe what happened when we make some columns and fields in the database server, at that instant we have to define that whether this field is going to be null or not null. So maybe in the database, this field is accepting the null value. So what we are trying to do here is we are trying to feed the null array. And let's say if we have something here or not. And as you can see, it is saying incorrect array. That means it's accepting this, right? It's accepting the null array. Fine. So we can try something like this too. And it's saying incorrect token, which is this. So this we already saw when we type value AAA, incorrect token AAA. But this message, what we saw before with the null array here, it's saying incorrect token array. So next thing I want to be sure here, but before this we need to consider something, And consideration is what we can consider, or we can take a hypothesis and we will check it later. But the thing is, we already know there is time of check and there should be a time of use also. So we can consider a little race window between when you submit the query. Okay, that means it is going to check the username, the email address, and then it is going to generate a token and send or construct a link for the confirmation and send it via email. So between this process there could be a race window. So we will check it again, and I'm going here to create a tab group, and let's say registration and first query, second query. We added both query here and any curl. Now I'm going to try it by sending, let's say, send group in sequence in separate connection, but here I'm going to change the name because this name is already registered. So let's say test. Okay, email address is test, username must be changed test. Okay, just send it and we see what we can do. Actually, instead of that, I want to test it on some random value of the token. So send it. And once we send that, let's see, here you can see the first query is taking 638 milliseconds and the second query is taking 379 milliseconds. That means the second query is getting response much faster and processed by the server much faster before we get the response from the first query. Okay, let's try one more time by changing just the username from test to test1 and send it again. And again, as you can see here, please check your email for your account registration link. But the important part here is the first query takes the response time 517 milliseconds and the second query is taking this time, much time. Why so? Send it again. $870,664. Oh, okay, because maybe we did not change this. Let's change that and then separate, send it in the separate connection. So 636, 684. Okay, let's try this in the parallel in a single packet attack and change the username from test2 to test3 and send in the parallel. It's taking 526 milliseconds and this one is taking 523 milliseconds. That means this response is, or this request is processed before the first one. So what we need to do to actually accomplish the task or to get that race window, okay, we need to process this request somehow after user registration request. And how we can do that, we can, there are two things. The first one, we can add here somehow some time delay so that this request is processed later or after this request, or we can continuously send this request again and again and again so that when this first request is going to be processed and after that there is the second request for the token confirmation and that comes into the race window. So these two things are there. The first part where we need to put some delay here, that seems hard or maybe no chance here to put the delay, but there is another way you can make delay to generate this request again and again once this request is in the processing. Fine. So I want to just test one more time. And as you can see again, the first request taking 534 millisecond of response time and this is 504. Okay, so how we can achieve that? For this, we can do few things. Like what? We can go to the first tab here, and I'm going to send this to the, go to the extension, go to the Turbo Intruder and send this request to the Turbo Intruder. Oh, I messed up something. You know what? Because every time we need to change this username because it has to be unique. So let's say I'm saying Bob and the password is 123456. Everything is okay, rest of the thing. And now I'm going to highlight this user and send it to the Turbo Intruder. Come here to the Turbo Intruder. Okay, and I have to choose what? I have to choose raise single packet attack, this one. Okay, so choose it, and as you can see here, instead of the username parameter value is %s. Okay, and email can be anything, but it must be within the ginandjuice.shop domain. Okay, so here we need to change few things. We need to write the logic here, what we need. The first thing first, and that is, first of all, we need to generate or create a request for the confirmation. So for this, we can write here, let's say token underscore request is equal to, and okay, within 3 tags, because we can change line that way. Let's say first of all the method is post and the endpoint is confirm question mark, and there is a parameter named token is equal to anything you want. But here I'm going to feed here the null array because we saw that we passed that null array. Okay, and the HTTP method here, HTTP version it's using is 2. Fine. The second part here is to put the host. So host is going to be this one. I'm going to copy that and paste it here. The third thing is your session ID, which is going to be your cookie, and cookie is right here. Just copy that, paste it here. Next thing, content length, and let's say content length is going to be 0. Okay, so this is the request for the confirmation link, registration confirmation link. Now what we need to do here is, let's say I'm going to send this request. This is target.request. This request, it is already taken from here. Okay, so within this, before this, what I want to do, let's say here I, or let it I, no problem. We can say numbers is equal to within the string and its value is I, right? So I is going to be the string. We need to generate the username. So username is equal to, we choose Bob, and because every user is going to be unique, so I'm going to choose here numbers. So this will construct a new user every time. So the first user will be Bob 0, the second one will be Bob 1, Bob 2 up to 19. Okay, from here it is going to take range from 0 to 19. Okay, so we created the username. The next thing is engine.unique. Here it is going to make a request to this endpoint. Okay, and here it actually needs what? It needs username. Okay, and instead of race 1, we need to identify here numbers. Okay, so it is going to generate one by one all the requests with unique username, and it is going to queue all those requests. But within this, what we want, within this we again want to create a nested for loop, and this time I'm going to say, let's say j in range, let's say 50 or 30, whatever you can choose, but make sure, because you need to add the delay for the second request, right? For this request you need delay. So when it takes the first request and it is processing that request, within that you are going to add 50 times the token request or the confirmation link request on this. Okay, fine. So this time I want to use the same thing to just create a request. Okay, and instead of target.request, because this is taking default from this URL for this endpoint, but here we want to generate what request? We want to generate this request, this token.request. Okay, so take this, put it here, and this request does not need username, so take this out, and get is equal to numbers. Fine. And here also you need to change it to numbers. Fine. And rest of the things are okay. So that seems perfect. It is going to take 0, then it construct it, say that this 0 is as a string. Okay, and then it is generating a username named as Bob0, and then it is going to make a request with that username. Okay, and within this it is going to this for loop, and here it is going to make request for this confirmation link for this token request. Okay, and what this gate will do, it is going to queue all of these requests. Okay, so you will see that once I hit attack. So let's go. Engine warming up, and if everything is okay, we see here the request. Yeah, so as you can see, all status are 400. There is one status for Bob 19 is 200. Let's see, and it is just registering the username. Okay, but the second request not fall into the race window, and that's why here the user is not succeeded with the confirmation. Everything is done. Let's see how many rows there. Up to now just 50. Why? It should be more. Every request it is going to take 50 times the other one. Queued 0. I'm going to halt this and go to the configuration again. Let's see. Up to here everything is okay. Here we have token request and post confirm question mark token, and there we put the null array http/2 is okay. Then we choose the hash, we have the cookie, and content length is 0, and we close it. For I in range 20, numbers string I, Bob plus numbers, and target dot request username. Let me check one thing. Username, yeah, that's okay. Numbers, here it is going to make one more for loop in range 50. Engine.queue, this is going to generate target underscore request, gate is equal to numbers, token underscore request, engine.open gate and numbers. Okay, so let's close this one, back to the first request, and change the username here from Bob to, let's say, Sally, and I am going to change this one also, no matter if you change or not. Let's highlight the username and send this to the Turbo Intruder. Come back here, make sure here you have %s and post/confirm. Instead of Bob, it should be Sally. Numbers. Okay, let's attack one more time. Okay, this time we found something interesting. So as you can see, there is Sally19 user, and it's saying please check your email for your account registration link. But here we have also some request with status code 200, but there is no username. And here, as you can see, because this request is for the second one. Okay, and this request is passed with the 200 response code. So if you scroll down, you will see account registration for user Sally19 is successful. So that's it. The username is going to be Sally19, because here you can see Sally19 is successful, and the password, we will have password from here. The password was 123456. So just go back, and I'm going back to the main page, home page. Let's go to the my account page. The username is going to be Sally19 and the password is 123456. Login, don't save, and we logged in. So without confirming the confirmation link for the registration, we actually registered an arbitrary user within the database, and we can access it. Okay, now here we have the admin panel. We can access the admin panel, and we can delete the Carlos account to solve the lab. So this was the last lab of this race conditions vulnerability module, and hope for the best. So that's it for this video. See you in the next video. Bye.